apocryphal content. Get ready for a revealing and impactful journey. Have you ever wondered if we are living in the apocalypse right now? This video will reveal secrets and truths that can completely change your perspective on the world we live in. At a time when natural disasters, social conflicts, and economic crises seem to be intensifying, it is essential to understand what is behind these events. Every detail is crucial to understanding the current scenario and what awaits us in the future. Follow carefully, because information is power. By understanding the connections and signs that surround us, you will be better prepared to face the challenges that lie ahead. This video is not just about the apocalypse. It is about our ability to perceive and react to the signs that the world sends us. It is about our resilience and our ability to adapt to an uncertain future. And don't forget to like and share with your friends. Let's find out together what is really happening and how we can prepare for what lies ahead. Your participation is essential to spread this message and raise awareness among more people about the importance of being alert and informed. Together, we can make a difference and face any challenge that the future may bring us. The end times, the biblical description. The wind howled, the earth shook, and the sky seemed to fall over the heads of those who were still standing. In the midst of a storm that seemed to have no end, the sound of thunder was so loud that it made hearts race. This is the scenario described in Revelation 6, where John the Apostle receives a vision that shakes the foundations of everything we know. The end times are not just a distant metaphor, but a reality so tangible that it seems possible to touch the impending destruction with your hands. Imagine the sun suddenly darkening, the moon turning blood red, and the stars falling from the sky, as if the universe itself were shattering before your eyes. The whole world trembles, and there is no safe place. The Bible vividly describes the cosmic catastrophe that precedes the end of time. And in the midst of this great tribulation, chaos is absolute. Earthquakes, wars, natural disasters, and a constant sense that humanity has reached its limit. Each of these signs is like a giant wave about to swallow everything we know. What will people do in the face of this? How will they react? Will they hide, try to escape, or simply give in to fear? The crucial question that echoes through John's words is, who can endure this? A world where everything that seemed secure, all control, melts away like sand in your hands. Fear takes over, despair dominates, and questions about survival itself become urgent. There is no room for indecision. But what if, in the midst of this chaos, there was something more? Something that was greater than fear itself, greater than the destruction around us. Something that offered us a hope that, even in the worst circumstances, could keep us going. This is the mystery that is often lost in apocalyptic visions. But what if all of this were not just a matter of despair? What if, deep down, this was just the beginning of something much bigger? And it is precisely when we begin to seek answers to these questions, when we face the storm and look beyond the horizon, that the first signs of something that goes beyond the apocalyptic vision appear. Because although the end of times is something grand and terrifying, the Bible also offers us another path. God's call. Hope in the midst of tribulation. In the midst of all the chaos and despair, when the earth seems to be breaking apart and the sky becomes a stage of destruction, something very powerful begins to emerge. And it is not a cry of despair, but a soft and persistent voice that resonates in the hearts of the righteous. In Revelation 7, even at the height of the tribulation, God sends a sign. The 144,000 sealed, a chosen group, a symbolic number that represents all the faithful who, in the midst of torment, remain steadfast. How can we understand this? How can we explain the idea of a divine calling when everything around us is collapsing? How can we hear God's voice when the entire world seems to be submerged in an endless abyss? The story of Noah teaches us a lot about this. He lived in a time when people were so immersed in evil and their own desires that they could not hear God's voice. And when that voice was heard, it seemed almost ridiculous. A man building an ark in the middle of a world that could never imagine a great flood. Faith, obedience, and the confidence that a divine calling could save his family in a time of total corruption. But God's calling is not only for the great heroes of the Bible. It also addresses ordinary people, people like you and me. When everything around us seems to be falling apart, it is in the midst of this storm that we can realize that God's call becomes even clearer. It is not a call for those who have everything, but for those who are willing to listen, to submit, and to trust. This leads us to an important reflection. As the apocalypse unfolds, the opportunities to hear God's call do not disappear. On the contrary, they can be more intense and clear, especially for those who, with humble hearts, seek divine purpose in the midst of chaos. What seems like the end can, in fact, be the beginning of something great. But to do so, it takes courage to listen, and even more importantly, courage to act. And how do we act? How do we answer God's call when we are so immersed in the suffering and anguish of the world? This brings us to another fundamental aspect of the journey of faith: strength in weakness, overcoming challenges with faith. As the world approaches final chaos, a fundamental question arises: how can we weather the storm when we feel so fragile? The apocalypse describes not only the great destruction, but also the internal struggles that everyone faces. places. The Apostle Paul himself reminds us in 2 Corinthians 12:9 that God's power is made perfect in weakness. But what does this mean when we are in the midst of pain, when our strength seems to be failing, and our faith is threatened by the adversities of the world? We could look to the story of David and Goliath, one of the most emblematic representations of how, in weakness, there is an invisible but incredibly powerful force. David was just a young shepherd boy, without armor or military training, but he was shielded by faith. His God was greater than any giant. He did not trust in his physical abilities or strength, but in the strength that comes from something beyond the human. He heard God's call, acted courageously, and overcame the impossible. In the age of the apocalypse, we often feel like David facing an unbeatable Goliath, but the secret of victory lies not in our own strength, but in the faith we place in something much greater, God's will. God does not call the strongest, but those who are willing to trust Him in their weakest moments. This shows us that true strength does not come from ourselves, but from our relationship with God. This message is especially relevant when we look at the circumstances that surround us. Fear, doubt, hardship, all of these things can make us feel too small to face what lies ahead. But is this the true test of faith? When life pushes us to the limit, God's strength reveals itself in powerful and unexpected ways. After all, human weakness becomes a fertile ground for the manifestation of divine power. And even in the height of the struggle, when defeat seems imminent, there is something that rises up in those who have chosen to follow the call, an unshakable hope. They know that in the end, what seemed like the end is, in fact, the beginning of a new life. But how do we know which path to take when doubt sets in our hearts? This brings us to another vital key for those who wish to fulfill their divine calling. Hope in the midst of desolation, the promise of rebirth. When everything around us seems to be falling apart and the world is on the brink of collapse, the feeling of desolation is overwhelming. The apocalypse does not spare us vivid images of destruction, hunger, pain, and despair. But it is precisely in this dark scenario that one of the greatest messages of the Bible stands out. There is no darkness that can extinguish the divine light. It is in the midst of chaos that the promise of rebirth emerges like a beacon. There, in Ezekiel 37, God leads the prophet to a valley of dry bones, a place where all seemed lost. The bones represented the end, death, and the lack of hope. But God asks Ezekiel, can these bones live again? The human answer would be a dry and hopeless no. But God, in His infinite wisdom, promises that these dry, lifeless bones will be restored and rise up as an army of new life. This vision of rebirth in the midst of desolation is a direct reflection of how God works in times of crisis. The apocalypse may seem like a representation of final destruction, but in fact, it is also a harbinger of something more powerful, spiritual rebirth. When things fall to the ground, when the pain seems unbearable and everything seems to fall apart, God uses these circumstances to bring new life in a way that only He can do. The apocalypse, with all its catastrophes, makes room for a new heaven and a new earth where pain and death no longer have power. These moments of chaos and suffering can be interpreted as moments of purification in our lives, when God allows everything around us to fall away to make way for a deeper renewal. But how can we go through this without losing our faith? How can we find the courage to move forward when the fear of imminent destruction paralyzes us? The answer may lie in something that is not. We can see it immediately, but it reveals itself as we move forward. The horseman with the flaming sword, the fight against darkness. The apocalypse is full of powerful symbols, and one of the most striking is the image of the horseman riding a white horse, wielding a flaming sword. He appears in the book of Revelation as the warrior destined to face the forces of evil. This horseman, identified as Jesus Christ in His second coming, carries a clear message. The fight against evil is inevitable, but we are not called to fight alone. As the horseman advances, he is not just fighting a physical battle, but a spiritual battle. He represents the power of truth and divine justice, being the bearer of the sword that destroys lies and frees the oppressed. But we need to understand what this flaming sword really represents. It is not just a blade of fire. It symbolizes the Word of God, which penetrates hearts and separates good from evil. When we accept God's Word into our lives, it arms us against the forces of darkness, enabling us to face challenges and temptations. But the real question that arises here is, are we ready to fight? The horseman invites us to follow his journey, but before we embark, we need to reflect on our own internal battles. What are the enemies we need to face in our hearts? What lies and shadows have we allowed to grow within us? How can we arm ourselves with this flaming sword and move forward with courage and faith to defeat evil? As we reflect on this journey of struggle, we are reminded that true victory does not come from physical strength or the power of our hands, but from unshakable faith and total trust in God. However, this battle requires a deep commitment. Are we willing to follow the path of truth, no matter the cost? The answer to this question will lead us to understand an even deeper part of Revelation. The book of Revelation was written by the Apostle John while he was exiled on the island of Patmos. This book is filled with symbolism and visions that describe catastrophic events and the second coming of Christ. Let's explore some of the main themes and prophecies of this book and how they relate to preparing for the end times. The 7 seven seals. One of the central elements of the book of Revelation is the seven seals. Each seal, when opened, reveals a series of catastrophic events. The first seal brings the white horse, symbolizing conquest and victory. The second seal brings the red horse, symbolizing war and conflict. The third seal brings the black horse, symbolizing famine and scarcity. The fourth seal brings the pale horse, symbolizing death and pestilence. These horsemen represent the challenges and tribulations that humanity will face in the end times. They remind us of the importance of being spiritually and physically prepared to confront these adversities. The seven trumpets. After the seven seals, the book of Revelation describes the seven trumpets. Each trumpet announces a series of divine judgments upon the earth. The first trumpet brings hail and fire mixed with blood, burning a third of the earth. The second trumpet brings a burning mountain that falls into the sea, turning a third of the sea into blood. The third trumpet brings a star called wormwood, which falls on the rivers and springs, turning a third of the waters bitter. These trumpets symbolize the divine judgments that will purify the earth and prepare the way for the second coming of Christ. They remind us of the importance of living a righteous and upright life, preparing for the return of our Savior. The beast and the false prophet. Another central theme of the book of Revelation is the beast and the false prophet. The beast is described as an entity that exercises great power and authority, deceiving many with its miracles and signs. The false prophet is its ally, who performs miracles to deceive people and lead them to worship the beast. These symbols warn us about the deceptions and false doctrines that will prevail in the end times. They remind us of the importance of discerning the truth and remaining steadfast in our faith, not letting ourselves be deceived by false prophets and leaders. The Battle of Armageddon. The book of Revelation also describes the Battle of Armageddon, a final war between the forces of good and evil. This battle is the climax of the tribulations and judgments described in the book. It is an epic struggle between Christ and his heavenly forces against the beast, the false prophet, and their followers. The Battle of Armageddon symbolizes the final victory of good over evil. It reminds us that, despite the tribulations and challenges, good will triumph in the end. It is a call to keep our faith and hope, knowing that Christ will prevail and establish his eternal kingdom. The second coming of Christ. Finally, the book of Revelation culminates with the second coming of Christ. This is the promise that Christ will return in glory to judge the living and the dead and establish his eternal kingdom. The second coming of Christ is a moment of joy and hope for the faithful, but also of judgment for those who have strayed from the path. The second coming of Christ reminds us of the importance of living a righteous and upright life, preparing for his return. It is a call to keep our faith and hope, knowing that Christ will return to save us and establish his eternal kingdom, preparing for the end times. The book of Revelation offers us a deep and prophetic vision of the end times. It reminds us of the importance of being spiritually and physically prepared to face the tribulations and challenges that will come. But how can we prepare for the end times? In the following segments, we will explore practical and concrete strategies to prepare for the end times. We will learn about the importance of being prepared, the essential items to stockpile, how to create an emergency plan for your family, build a bug-out bag, find shelter, learn basic survival skills, and much more. So, stay with us as we delve deeper into this crucial topic and learn how to prepare for the end times. We will ensure that you and your family are ready for any eventuality, keeping the faith and hope in Christ. From understanding threats to stockpiling essentials, we'll guide you through creating an emergency plan that's sensible. Learn how to build a bug-out bag, find shelter, and stay connected, and navigate the challenges of a long-term apocalypse well-directed. Let's dive in and ensure you're ready for whatever comes your way, so you can survive and thrive no matter what the future may say. Understanding the potential threats of an apocalypse. First, let's understand the different types of threats we face. Natural disasters, pandemics, and societal unrest take their place. Earthquakes, hurricanes, and floods can strike without a warning, while pandemics spread rapidly, causing widespread mourning. Economic collapse and civil unrest can lead to chaos and strife. Technological failures can disrupt our modern way of life. Knowing the specific threats in your area is the first step. Research the history of natural disasters, and don't be inept. Understand the infrastructure and how it might be affected. If you live in a coastal area, be prepared for storms directed. Inland, you might face earthquakes or wildfires' fierce glow. Being informed is key to being ready for whatever may show. Consider the impact of a pandemic on daily life. Stock up on hygiene supplies to protect against strife. Economic collapse can be just as devastating. Have a diverse portfolio and a backup income generating. Civil unrest can lead to violence and social disarray. Be prepared to defend yourself and find a safe way. Technological failures can disrupt communication. Have backup systems in place for any situation. Learn basic survival skills and be self-reliant. Knowing how to navigate without technology is compliant. Stay informed about new threats and technologies. Be open to learning and adapting your strategies. Understanding the threats is just the beginning. Preparedness is a journey, not a fleeting thing. By knowing what to expect, you can plan and prepare care, ensuring you and your loved ones are safe and aware. In the next segments, we'll dive deeper into what you need to survive the apocalypse and succeed indeed. The importance of being prepared. Being prepared isn't just about having supplies. It's about having a plan and being wise. Knowing what to do in an emergency can save lives. Start by assessing your risks and creating a plan that thrives. This includes having an emergency kit, knowing evacuation routes, and having a communication plan, leaving no doubts. Preparedness also means staying informed, keep up with local news and weather alerts, be reformed. Join community preparedness groups to share knowledge. The more you know, the better prepared you'll be. Acknowledge. Being prepared isn't about living in fear. It's about being ready for whatever may appear. Create a plan tailored to your specific needs. Include evacuation routes and emergency feeds. Know where to meet if you get separated. Have a backup plan if the primary route is complicated. Assign roles to each family member who will gather supplies, handle communication. Remember, practice your plan regularly so everyone knows what to do in an emergency as the preparedness grows. Being prepared means being proactive, taking steps to ensure your safety, being interactive. It's not just about surviving the initial impact, but thriving in the aftermath. That's a fact. In the next segments, we'll cover essential items to stockpile, creating an emergency plan, and how to reconcile. The importance of a bug-out bag and finding shelter, learning survival skills, and staying connected. Don't settle. So let's dive in and ensure you're ready for the unthinkable, making survival not just possible, but achievable and sinkable. Essential items to stockpile for survival. An emergency kit is essential for any scenario. Start with the basics: water, food, and a first aid kit. Don't be sorry or slow. Aim for at least a 3-day supply of water and non-perishable food for each person in your household, ensuring you're in the mood. Include a water purifier or purification tablets in case you need to find water from natural outlets. Your first aid kit should include bandages and antiseptic wipes, pain relievers, and any prescription medications. Don't gripe. Don't forget a multi-tool, a flashlight with extra batteries, and a portable radio to stay informed, avoiding catastrophes. A whistle can be useful for signaling for help, and a dust mask can protect you from contaminated yelp. Consider the specific needs of your family. Include items for pets, infants, and elderly harmoniously. Have a supply of cash and important documents in case you need to evacuate quickly. Being prudent, keep your emergency kit in an accessible place, like by the front door or in your car, just in case. Update your emergency kit regularly to ensure all items are functional and up to date necessarily. Check expiration dates on food and medications. Replace any items that are damaged or causing frustrations. Have a backup supply of essential items in case you need to restock quickly, avoiding any schisms. In the next segment, we'll cover creating an emergency plan, ensuring you and your family are safe. Being a fan. So stay tuned and let's dive deeper into preparedness, making survival not just a goal, but a true fitness. Creating an emergency plan for your family. Having an emergency plan is crucial for survival. Start by discussing potential threats with your familial. Decide on a meeting point in case you get separated. Know the evacuation routes and have a plan well created. Assign roles to each family member, ensuring clarity. Who will gather supplies, handle communication with charity. Create a communication plan to stay connected. Have a list of emergency contact numbers being directed. Include local authorities, hospitals, and family members, ensuring you can reach out for help, avoiding any encumbers. Have multiple ways to receive information, such as a battery-powered radio or a solar-powered station. Practice your emergency plan regularly so everyone knows what to do. Being steady and ready. Run drills and scenarios to test your plan, making adjustments as needed. Being a fan. Involve your entire family in the planning process, ensuring everyone is on the same page, avoiding any excess. Consider the specific needs of your family. Include plans for pets, infants, and elderly harmoniously. Have a backup plan in case the primary plan fails, ensuring you're prepared for any situation without any qualms. Stay informed about local emergencies and threats, being proactive and ready for whatever begets. In the next segment, we'll cover building a bug-out bag, ensuring you're ready for a quick evacuation without any lag. So stay tuned and let's dive deeper into preparedness, making survival not just a goal, but a true eagerness. Building a bug-out bag for quick evacuation. A bug-out bag is a portable kit for quick evacuation. It should contain essentials for at least 72 hours without hesitation. Include water, non-perishable food, and a first aid kit, a multi-tool, a flashlight, and a map. Being well-equipped and fit. Add personal items like identification, cash, and important documents, ensuring you have everything you need, avoiding any arguments. Make sure your bug-out bag is lightweight and easy to carry. Keep it in an accessible place, like by the front door. Don't tarry. Update it regularly to ensure all items are functional and up to date. Being practical and not irrational. Include items for pets, infants, and elderly, ensuring everyone's needs are met. Being steady. Consider the specific threats in your area and tailor your bug-out bag accordingly. Being being fair. If you live in a coastal area, include items for hurricanes, such as a rain poncho and waterproof matches, avoiding any pains. Inland, you might need items for earthquakes or wildfires, such as a dust mask and work gloves, avoiding any mires. Have a backup supply of essential items in case you need to restock quickly, being critical. Include a change of clothes and comfortable shoes, ensuring you're prepared for any situation without any blues. Stay informed about local emergencies and threats, being proactive and ready for whatever begets. In the next segment, we'll cover finding shelter and securing your home, ensuring you have a safe place to go, being well known. So stay tuned and let's dive deeper into preparedness, making survival not just a goal, but a true keenness. Finding shelter and securing your home. Having a safe place to shelter is crucial for survival. If you're in a disaster-prone area, consider home reinforcement, being rival. Install hurricane shutters, secure heavy furniture, and have a designated safe room, ensuring safety's a lure. If you need to evacuate, have a plan for where you will go. Know the evacuation routes and have a meeting point. Don't be slow. In case of a pandemic, stock up on hygiene supplies such as hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, and face masks, being wise. Create a quarantine area in your home if someone gets sick. Keep a supply of gloves and protective gear, being quick. Stay informed about local emergencies and threats, being proactive and ready for whatever begets. Consider the specific needs of your family. Include plans for pets, infants, and elderly harmoniously. Have a backup plan in case the primary plan fails, ensuring you're prepared for any situation without any qualms. Stay connected with your community. Join local preparedness groups to share knowledge, being astute and shrewd. Truly, learn basic survival skills and be self-reliant. Knowing how to navigate without technology is compliant. Stay informed about new threats and technologies. Be open to learning and adapting your strategies with abilities. In the next segment, we'll cover learning basic survival skills, ensuring you're ready for any situation without any frills. Learning basic survival skills. Survival skills are essential for any apocalyptic scenario. Learn basic first aid and CPR, being sincere and not insincere. Know how to use a compass and navigate without technology. Practice building a shelter, starting a fire, and purifying water with glee. These skills can be lifesavers in an emergency, ensuring you're prepared for any situation. Being merry. Take survival courses or join a local preparedness group. Learn from experts and practice regularly. Being in the loop. Know how to perform basic repairs and maintenance on your home and vehicles, avoiding any nuisance. Learn how to grow your own food and be self-sufficient, ensuring you have a sustainable source of nourishment. Being proficient. Consider the specific threats in your area and tailor your survival skills accordingly. Being fair. If you live in a coastal area, learn how to survive a hurricane. Inland, you might need to know how to survive an earthquake without any pain. Stay informed about local emergencies and threats, being proactive and ready for whatever begets. Practice your survival skills regularly so you're ready when you need them. Being steady. Involve your entire family in the learning process, ensuring everyone is on the same page, avoiding any excess. In the next segment, we'll cover communicating and connecting with others, ensuring you stay informed and connected, being good brothers. Communicating and connecting with others in a post-apocalyptic world. Staying informed is vital during an apocalypse. Have multiple ways to receive information, being nice, such as a battery-powered radio, a satellite phone, or a solar-powered charger for your devices, being well known. Keep a list of emergency contact numbers, including local authorities, hospitals, and family members, without any blunders. Learn basic survival skills like first aid and CPR, knowing how to use a compass and navigate without technology, being a star. Practice these skills regularly so you're ready when you need them, being steady and not unready. Stay connected with your community. Join local preparedness groups to share knowledge, being astute and shrewd. Truly, consider the specific needs of your family. Include plans for pets, infants, and elderly harmoniously. Have a backup plan in case the primary plan fails, ensuring you're prepared for any situation without any qualms. Stay informed about local emergencies and threats, being proactive and ready for whatever begets. In the next segment, we'll cover navigating the challenges of a long-term apocalypse, avoiding any hassles and tangles. So stay tuned and let's dive deeper into preparedness, making survival not just a goal, but a true keenness. Navigating the challenges of a long-term apocalypse. For long-term survival, consider sustainable living practices. Learn how to grow your own food, even if it's just a small garden with no malices. Know basic hunting and fishing skills. Have a supply of seeds and gardening tools, being thrilled with the drills. Water is life, so have a plan for long-term water supply, rainwater harvesting systems, wells, or access to a natural water source, being spry. Learn how to purify water using boiling, filtration, or chemical treatments, being in the right direction. Consider the specific needs of your family. Include plans for pets, infants, and elderly harmoniously. Have a backup plan in case the primary plan fails, ensuring you're prepared for any situation without any qualms. Stay informed about local emergencies emergencies and threats, being proactive and ready for whatever begets. Stay connected with your community. Join local preparedness groups to share knowledge. Being astute and shrewd, truly. Learn basic survival skills and be self-reliant. Knowing how to navigate without technology is compliant. In the next segment, we'll cover the conclusion, ensuring you're ready for any situation without any confusion. So stay tuned and let's dive deeper into preparedness, making survival not just a goal, but a true keenness. Conclusion: taking action and staying prepared. Preparing for the apocalypse isn't about living in fear. It's about being ready for whatever comes your way. Being clear, by taking these steps, you'll be better equipped to handle any crisis, being well zippered and well clipped. Remember, the key to survival is preparation, knowledge, and community, being in the right direction. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more survival tips. Being truthful, stay safe, and until next time, be prepared, making survival not just possible, but achievable and well-aired.